Hello, everyone. My name is Allan Mishra. I'm an orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine specialist. I'm also the founder of daretobevital.com. And I have a starting question for you, and that is, has anyone ever taught you how to be vital? Our goal today is going to be to try to answer that question, because I don't think you can be vital by being idle. Now, that's a little bit of a snarky slide, but over the next 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to talk about a program I call Ignite Vitality. And that program is basically how to live in what I call the vitality zone. And we're going to go over 3 specific steps. This is really an introduction to a program that I do for my clients. I'm also going to try to help you get out of what I call either the surviving, sliding, or burnout zone and try to live more in the vitality zone. So those are our goals for today. And one of the things I want to start with is what I call the Dare to Be Vital challenge. And that challenge is to use your unique skills and enthusiasm to transform yourself, your community, and the world. Now, my thought about vitality is, really grown out of almost 5 years of working on trying to understand what that word means. And over the course of scientifically studying vitality, it's become clear that it's a combination of your physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. All 4 of those contribute to your vitality. And over time, your vitality can go up and down. But as I studied vitality and as I brought it into things that I've been doing, personally and professionally, it's pretty clear that it's a constellation of skills. And that is my main thesis, is that vitality is not something that I can give or grant you. It is something you earn by making good choices about how you spend your time, talent, and treasure. This is something I've been working on, again, for many years now. I've written a book on it called Vitality Essential Course Book, the Vitality Essentials Course Book. I teach a class by that same name at Stanford. And my working definition right now of vitality is purposeful, vigorous, and connected living. Let me say that one more time. Vitality is purposeful, vigorous, and connected living. So we're going to work on understanding a little bit more of that. And then this is sort of a preview or a little bit of a teaser of what I call the Ignite Vitality program. Now, this is a month-long interactive program that I've developed to help improve or enhance the vitality of team members. That could be an executive team, or it can be an entire company. And this is part of what I also teach through my course at Stanford. Now, we've already just done this for the benefits company. In February of 2021, we ran the Ignite Vitality program with the primary goal of enhancing the vitality of the benefit company's team members. And I'm very happy to say that almost 91% of the people who participated found that it enhanced their vitality. And we also break it down into 8 or 9 different parameters of vitality. And what we found, again, based on data of respondents after the program, what components of vitality rose most after participating. It was really interesting to see that people's sleep improved, their time management improved, and their overall sense of vitality improved. Now, these are just some components of the program. And in this short discussion today, I'm just giving you an overview of what it is. Really, the top 3 steps within the program that we will spend the rest of our time this morning discussing are, number 1, pinpoint your peak purpose. Number 2, think with time in mind. Number 3, stockpile health. So we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into each one of those. And then after this presentation, I'll be available to answer questions. So the pinpoint your peak purpose part, that's a kind of a nice alliteration. The pinpoint peak purpose of this part of the program is really the how of your why. All right. So a lot of people understand that purpose is important to your overall sense of well-being. It's also important to your company's sense of well-being and your overall potential profitability. But how many people have taught you how to figure out your purpose? That's one of the primary components of the Ignite Vitality program. And here are 3 specific sub-steps that you can do to better understand the how of your why. Spend 15 minutes per day working on your purpose statement. We're going to go over that a little bit more. Number 2 is to dare greatly. And number 3 is to silence the voice of judgment in your head. So why would you spend time thinking about your purpose? Well, one of the things I try to teach my students and clients is that thinking about your purpose is crucial because it's a leveraged investment. So if you spend more time, maybe just 15 minutes per day, thinking about why you're here on the planet or why your company is functioning or why your company is around, it helps direct other resources. And those resources include your time, they include your monetary resources, your personnel resources. And if you're able to reduce your purpose to 8 words or less, it really becomes something that you can smash up against potential opportunities and say no more often so that you can focus more on what's important to executing on your purpose. Second component of trying to understand your peak purpose is to dare greatly. Now, this is just one of my favorite pictures of the Tesla Roadster that was shot into orbit by Elon Musk and SpaceX. But it's the idea of just going after something that potentially is unachievable. But when you take a big chance, when you dare greatly with your purpose, either your personal or your professional purpose, you're betting on yourself. You're having faith in yourself. So it's a really interesting way to understand what could I potentially do with my life or my company's focus. And the important component of trying to understand your peak purpose, and I've been working and living in Silicon Valley for more than 20 years, and I've met a lot of very successful people and interacted with a variety of successful institutions. And it's not that they don't have doubt. All of us have doubt, but the ability to silence that voice of judgment in your head that you're not going to be able to do it, that you're not going to be able to achieve what you want to do, is a primary component of either a successful person or a company. So again, it's the 3 things we're talking about: is spend 15 minutes, think of it as a leverage investment, dare greatly, and silence the voice of judgment in your head. Those are the 3 components that we learn about pinpointing your peak purpose. The next thing we talk about, and again, we go over this in detail in an interactive webinar, also text message courses, and of course the course book, which people work on throughout the entire month. But the second thing we talk about is to think with time in mind. And here's some specific time management suggestions. And we'll go over these in a little bit of detail. Number 1 is to avoid energy vampires and embrace energy angels. And number 2 is to work on writing your future headlines. That could be next month, that could be next month or next year. So let's talk a little bit about that. Time is our most precious non-renewable resource. Your time is your most precious non-renewable resource. And I think we need to be ruthless with our time. So it's really important to prioritize how you spend your precious time and your energy, because you don't get more of it sometimes. You also don't know when your last best day will be. So my snarky kind of suggestion is to avoid energy vampires. And these can be people or activities that essentially drain your bone marrow. They suck your blood, right? And that we all know who those type of people may be, or even some of those activities. And we won't be able to completely avoid energy vampires, but the less time you spend with either these type of people or activities. Now, an activity may be scrolling too much social media, maybe doing something that's not beneficial to your relationships with other people. Those type of things can drain your energy. The opposite is what we call an energy angel. And if you embrace energy angels, those could be people who just bring you more joy, bring you more energy in your life. It can also be an activity like taking a hike or a bike ride or a run. I like to take a hike around something called the Stanford Dish, which is about 5.5 miles. Takes about 90 minutes to do it obviously it takes time, but at the end of that time, I have more energy. Now, physical energy has been drained, but my mental energy, my perspective on life as I'm walking around in this beautiful part of the Stanford campus is amazing. So I try to do that whenever I can, and it's an energy angel activity. Energy angel people, the more of those you can surround yourself with, the better or higher your sense of vitality is going to be. And this goes with this saying that I try to teach people again, is to think with time in mind and it'll change every thought, or thinking with time in mind changes every thought. So as you start to work on your purpose, spend some of your time focused on your purpose, thinking about how you spend your time proactively. So I say spend your seconds proactively. Don't waste any of your time as you go through your day, your month, or your life. And this gets to the final suggestion about thinking with time in mind. And this is an interesting exercise again. So we try to provide some ideas about how to become more vital, and then we follow that up with this inside the Ignite Vitality program with specific actionable assignments. So this is one of the assignments we have, is to write your future and final headline. So that could be for tomorrow. Maybe it's I want to lose 1 pound, or I just want to exercise today, or I want to call up an old friend. 1 week or 1 month from now. So that's sort of a short-term goal. What do I want to accomplish? And the idea of writing the headline allows you, and literally using something called a pen and paper to write the headline down, encodes it in your brain. And it's almost like being on your to-done list, not your to-do list, but your to-done list. I have done that. And then when you look at that headline, you can say, well, how am I going to get there? What are the things I'm going to have to do today to get to that headline tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, or your final headline? And the final headline is, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? Very, dark thing to think about. But as you go through life, you really want to think about what are those things that are going to be most meaningful to you at the end. You don't always have to think about that every day, by the way, but at some point. The final thing we're going to talk about today is to stockpile health. Again, we've talked about pinpointing your peak purpose. We've talked about thinking with time in mind. And the final one is stockpiling health. And all of these are components of vitality. Again, this discussion this morning is more of an overview of what the Ignite Vitality program is. And the details are crucial, obviously. And each one of these, in addition to several others, are what comprises the entire program. But the first component of stockpiling health, and this is something that's crucial in this time as we emerge from COVID-19. Last year, in addition to the pandemic, there was an epidemic of inactivity. Okay. So a lot of people just were not allowed to go to the gym, were told to stay indoors, and were just not exercising. So there's been weight gain, there's been deconditioning. And so as we emerge from the pandemic, I think one of the things we need to think about is to exercise relentlessly. And that can be stretching, lifting weights, that can be walking, hiking, biking, but it's part of what I call the Move Now Challenge. So no matter where you are or what you're doing, trying to move more is an important component of vitality. So that gets back to my first thing when I said, has anybody ever taught you how to be vital? And that snarky little comment with Homer Simpson about you can't be vital by being idle. So your mobility, your strength, your flexibility, your endurance is a huge component of your overall sense of vitality. And we sometimes forget to nourish ourselves by exercising and nourish our vitality. Again, strength, endurance, and flexibility are the three core components of your physical vitality. It's also crucial to understand that sleep, diet, and weight are part of that. And we do spend a fair amount of time talking about sleep. We talk also about trying to live at your ideal weight. In this particular discussion this morning, I don't have time to go into all of those details, but we have a scientific set of ideas about how to improve or enhance your sleep, or how to figure out how to live at your ideal weight embedded within the Ignite Vitality program. So we're getting close to finishing here in terms of the didactic presentation again, and I'll be available for questions and comments and suggestions. But half of what we do in the program is data about why your peak purpose is important, which can include things like your overall sense of well-being, decreased risk of chronic disease, or even death is associated with knowing your purpose better. Again, for a corporate perspective, knowing your peak purpose can be associated with better brand recognition, better employee retention and recruitment, and purpose is clearly important. The other half of what we do, again, is to try to help people get there. So this is the Dare to be Vital Purpose Identification Worksheet. So reducing this to activities and trying to understand taking a week at a time, maybe enlisting the things you spend your most time on and how much energy you bring to those is a measure of how you spend your overall time and energy, can be a function of your purpose. So this is something I have people write down. And then the hard goal, the very, very difficult thing, is to struggle with your personal or professional purpose and reduce it to 8 words. Again, I think the combination of information and an assignment is very important in order to increase or improve or enhance your vitality. The second one is just a piece of paper that says, what is your headline for next week? What is your headline for next month? And what is your headline for next year? And I give patients and students and clients an opportunity to think about that. Well, I want to be a little bit better next week or next month. All right, I'm going to commit to trying to get on the exercise bike 3 times a week. Next year, I want to be 10 pounds lighter and I want to spend more time with my family, or I really want to execute on this component of my business. Each one of those, if again, you reduce it to a short newspaper headline, it really helps as you try to figure out how you're going to get there. And the final component of what we talked about today is your physical vitality action plan. And again, we don't spend enough time actually just writing it down, committing to it. And when you write something down with a pen and paper, it is a bigger commitment. It's a bigger psychological commitment than just typing it into your phone. So, for instance, I have difficulty with hamstring flexibility, and I know that I've had that forever. And this year, during the pandemic, I came up with this idea of trying to just stretch my hamstrings if I ever heat up coffee, tea, or oatmeal in the morning. And so I have maybe 2 minutes of time while the microwave is on. I know it's going to beep after 2 minutes, but I focused and I said, I can spend 2 minutes focused on my hamstring flexibility. And in just 2 minutes per day, over the last 3 or 4 months, I have massively increased my hamstring flexibility. And that's taken some tension off my lower back. It's allowed me to be more active, and it's almost inconsequential. But it was a commitment to work on my flexibility. Similarly with strength, I'll just share an idea that I had is that, okay, I'm going to put a dumbbell next to my bed. The dentists are really good at teaching us how to brush and floss our teeth. All right. So I came up with this idea. If I touch my toothbrush, I got to go out and do a set of curls with a dumbbell. And so again, I've been doing that for about 6 months or so. And just one set of 10 with a, wait for it, small 25-pound dumbbell. But that's made a big difference over time. And the final one is, of course, your endurance or your aerobic activity, and committing to just walking more, hiking, biking, or just moving whenever you can, overall will improve your physical vitality. But you need to reduce that to an action plan. The final thing we do with the group or the students is to come up with this overall personal vitality action plan. And again, the 4 components of your vitality or pillars are your physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. We didn't have a lot of time to talk about the spiritual component of it this morning, but I think that's belief in something bigger than yourself. And all 4 of these are important if you want to execute on your peak purpose. So what I suggest for people, I want to give people permission to nourish themselves in all 4 of these areas in order to execute best on their peak purpose. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. If you're interested more about this Ignite Vitality program, you can contact me directly. You can also contact John or Faye, and we would be delighted to give you some more information about how this program may be useful for your executive team or your entire company. So now you can answer that question. Has anybody ever taught you how to be vital? Well, at least for the last maybe 15 or 20 minutes, I've done my best to help you ignite your vitality. So again, my name is Allan Mishra. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and the founder of Dare to Be Vital. And I thank you for your time and attention.